Asia Podcast Festival. My name is John, this is Alistair, and we have come full circle in our podcast. So we're going to be sharing with you our mistakes that we have committed all these years so that you all can hopefully avoid them and continue to enjoy our show.
I think it's good to have basic understanding of the media laws in Singapore.
Yes. Topic statement is how we nearly
got sued.
We nearly got sued for defamation, and someone threatened to lodge a police report against us.
No, I don't think they threatened to. I think they actually lodged a police report against us.
Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of In My Opinion. My name is John.
My name is Alistair.
And yes, welcome. As you will notice, right, when you all watch this video, we seem to be in a different place.
We are at SCAPE for the Asia Podcast Festival, and we're doing a podcast for them. And before we go into our today's episode, Overtake SG everywhere.
Yes.
TikTok, Telegram, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube. Go and follow us.
Yes, and speaking of Asia Podcast Festival, if you like them to re-invite us,
yes,
right, please go visit their page also and find a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right, and then if you are not subscribed, right, please come and subscribe.
Yes.
If you are, according to our Spotify Wrapped,
yeah, we are top 5% most shared podcast in the world.
Let's change the shared to listen lah.
Exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All these years.
And also one more announcement. From 10 to 11 December, we have a 24-hour stream, so join us on Twitch.
All right.
And let's get to today's episode. Today will be a short stream, a short one episode.
Because we are here at SCAPE, and then we need to...
We have to leave by 12:30.
No, we need to meet our adoring fans.
We have to leave by 12:30.
You cannot see behind the camera.
Basically.
People are clamoring for our attention right now. I am John Mayer, and this is Alistair Punk.
But yes, today's episode we're going to be talking about rookie mistakes that we made when we first started out YouTube. And we've been doing YouTube for like 3 years already? A bit too long to be honest, like 3 to 4 years
Seems
already.
Like it's been forever honestly.
And I think maybe we each cover 1 or 2 mistakes each and then we elaborate a little bit and call it a day. So John, have you actually thought about the mistakes when I first told you this idea? Have you actually given some thought?
I thought about it.
You thought about it?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go with your first one.
Okay, I thought about first one, and the second one low-key I want to put in a joke one for fun.
Okay. What's the first one? Yes,
the first one, right, is a semi-serious one.
Okay, what's the serious one?
The first one was being too enthusiastic about an idea and not considering sustainability.
When do we make that mistake?
So, no, hear me out. So, for me, right, you will know this because every single time now you come with an idea, right, I always ask you whether it's sustainable or not.
Yeah.
That was because I arrived at an epiphany, maybe before pandemic. Yeah. Because one of the things that I realized, right, was that whenever we were excited to do things, right, the good thing about us is that we vibe quite well. So when ideas flow between the two of us, we are not the kind to stop each other. We will just go on. We will just do it on. Yeah. Even if we may not be almost immediately steady, we still steady. Yeah. So there was a time whereby we were just pure steady, no logic. So that was prior to the pandemic. So that's when I realized after that, right, that I was burning myself out when it comes to producing personal content. Yeah. So that was the first mistake because it took me a while to recalibrate my thinking. Because if you really think about it, right, burnout is, like we mentioned yesterday during our workshop, is inevitable. 100% burnout. Correct. Yeah. So when I realized that we were on a track to burnout and I was experiencing the early effects of it, right, then I thought to myself, wait, what could I have done better? Yeah. Right. That's when I realized that every time we have an idea, we just all in. Yes. Right. We just all in the sense that, like, regardless of how much resources we have, right, we just all in. Correct. Then that's where I really started to decide to be the devil's advocate, right, in terms of toning things down so that they are sustainable. So my very first mistake, I feel, is in year one of doing what we're doing, right? Because everything was easy to do. We lived near each other. Yeah. We both had the equipment and the knowledge to execute things. Yes. Right? And then we both were interested and passionate in what we do. Yeah. So much so that we threw all caution to the wind and did not consider long term. So that was when I had the epiphany, and then after that I decided to start telling you about it also. I do think that, like, the first year us throwing caution in the wind did help a little bit. It did. I do think that you, as much as we say, like, you do have to think about sustainability and how long you can do this for. Yeah. There is a certain level of, like, lack of inhibition that does
help you lah.
You
cannot be so inhibited and like so much into the whole thinking and everything.
No, I don't disagree. That's why you say it's a rookie mistake. Because what happens is that kind of fire, right? Is the afterburners one. Afterburners means you use up all your fuel to chiong one. Right? So no matter how much fuel you have and no matter how powerful your aircraft is, right? If you just the afterburners, right? You will die. You will crash.
Yeah, I think that actually leads very well to my first mistake. I think my first mistake was it's not really like a full-on mistake, but I think like when I first talked, this very important context. I talked to Sean because Sean is the owner
Sinfu.
He's the founder of Dear Straight People. Then I remember he asked me like, "Why do you want to make a YouTube channel?" Then I remember telling him like, "Oh, cause I like it. I'm just passionate, lor." And then he told me, that won't last. And everything.
My point also,
so I think my first mistake was believing that this whole passion thing or this fire to create will last forever and will just ride me off into the sunset.
You are romantic.
Which is cannot be further from the truth lah. Honestly speaking, like towards like the end of year 1, maybe in the middle of year 2, this started to feel like not that level of passion anymore. It started like there are still different reasons, not that I don't enjoy it, but the reason why I'm continuing it is not purely a passion thing anymore. It's like a discipline thing, it's like everything else. So I'll say it's good to have a passion at the start, and I think that's what will guide you through the first time. But I say that like to really have a long time in the game, right? Like longevity in the game of content creation, which is very important by the way, very underrated trait. A lot of people think of just clout and virality. I think longevity is very important. To have a longevity in the game, you do need another reason beyond passion.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something that not a lot of young starting out creators know.
Hot-blooded young creators.
Yeah, because a lot of them are just like, I'm passionate and I just want to make a YouTube channel. I want to make it work. And honestly, that's not going to last you very long.
Word of advice for all the hot-blooded creators out there, right? I feel that, right, being passionate, being driven, right, are completely separate things from being rational. They are not mutually exclusive. It's very, very like detrimental, right? If you think that your passion is being stifled by your reality or your realist approach. That's not always true. You can be passionate and you can be creative, right? Within the box that you draw yourself on. You don't have 100%. To think that it boxes you in because that box, right, is drawn by you. And the box, I feel like with restriction, you do have need to have some restrictions to be creative. Exactly. Because whenever, like for example, if someone come and tell you like, go and do anything you want, right? That's when the insane number of possibilities will like paralyze you. It's true. You need to have a certain restriction that you work within, and that's when your best creativity comes out. Correct. So like the restriction that we work with is that we can't really edit very long. We can't really spend a lot of time filming this. And we need to have a life. Yes. So, and we know realistically this amount of time per week that we have to do this. And that is the restriction and box we live within. And within that, we have our own ways of being creative with the content that we make. So I think it's good to be realistic with what you can do, especially in the long run. I think the biggest, which leads me to like the biggest mistake I think a lot of most younger creators make is that they don't. How about you? This one you also? Yeah, I think so okay, you don't think that you put out one video or put out 2 videos and then you call it a day, you don't think that it should be a long-term thing. So you say they strawberry It's not a strawberry thing, but I understand because like making videos are hard. It's hard, Yes. This is like a tiring thing to do. So it's not like it's easy, and most people think it is easy right from the get-go, right? Most people think content creation is easy, but it's not. It's tiring as shit. It's very depressing, especially if you do a podcast about like very like social issues that you feel very strongly for. I think content creation for fun is easy. Yes. But content creation for the long run is hard. The problem is that for fun with no like schedule, if you don't mind not doing well, it will not go. Of course, really you miss like an upload every month or something. Like you upload like 3 videos a year. Like my IG, right? Yeah, that's easy. That everyone can do that. The problem is that if you want to do well, then you have to be consistent. You have to be in the game for a long time, and that's the difficult thing to do. You have to be in creator mode. Yeah, and that's the first mistake I would say in totality that we made together, right? Like not knowing that being in a game long and how to be in the game long. Well, I think was our first very big mistake. I want to have my second mistake. I would say. Say it. I think. I said this before on the podcast, but I think like the first 20 episodes that I did, I felt like nothing I said would have mattered. What you mean? Like I felt like I could say anything and I wouldn't get any flag or any consequences will happen to me. You know what I mean? And that's a mistake because? I think that's a very big mistake. Why? Because we need to understand that like the platform that we have and
the fact that even if it's a small platform, there are people listening to you.
Okay.
And your whatever you say have consequences, and whatever you say have the potential to hurt people.
So I'm
not so afraid of offending people, more so of hurting people.
So you were saying that you were more tactless than you...
I wish I would, yeah.
Than you wanted to be.
Because at the start, when we first starting out, like IMO was getting what, like 300 views, 400 views? Like it wasn't that many views, and quite honestly, I didn't think that anything I said would have mattered to anyone.
Right.
So I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to say whatever the hell I want to say without thinking much about, like, you know, how would this affect like certain group of people? How would this hurt a certain group of people? How would this actually mainly hurt a certain group of people? That's I feel like my mistake until the Dikosh episode. Remember? That Dikosh episode was episode like 19 or 20 or something along those lines. And I think I said something, I don't take it back, but I do take back like the way I said it and the way that was portrayed.
Yeah.
So in the end, a lot of people were hurt by it, and they DM'd me, and I talked to them, and we all had a good conversation, and everything was fine in the end. Not that anyone was angry per se, but people were like a little bit hurt once in a while. And I do wish that I figured that out a bit earlier.
That you could have been more earlier.
Yeah. And like, you know, that, like, you know, I've said this before, like, just because you're right doesn't mean you're not an asshole.
True.
So that's what I wish I had figured out earlier, especially in the context of a podcast. Like, I can be right and an asshole at the same time. And I don't want to be an asshole. And I think that despite our rather small following, there are people who listen to us and will be hurt with what they say.
Our following has a good personality lah. Don't say small.
Our following is small but has a fantastic personality. Yeah. Like I really like them. But yeah lah. So that's I would say my second mistake. I feel like, and really enough, I see it happening with our two fellow Overthink members, Rain and Nicole. Overthink ladies. Rain and Nicole. So Rain and Nicole, I see them make kind of the same mistake.
And it's fine. It's
like a curve. It's like at the start you're like very scared of sharing because you're like, oh my god, it's going on the internet. And then you're very scared. And then after that you get more and more comfortable. Then you're like, fuck it, I'm just going to say what the hell I want.
Friends, hear me out. I feel that whatever we're saying here, right, they're not like asking you all to avoid making mistakes.
Exactly.
I just want to put it out there and be clear.
Yeah.
We're not asking you all to not make mistakes. We're just saying that these are things that you may encounter, and as a result, this is what we learn from them. So maybe you can learn too.
I feel like it's best not to avoid them at all. I feel like all of this, whatever I say, are like quite right of passage.
A bit.
Like we wouldn't have known what we know if we didn't make a mistake. Yeah. Which is why
we won't be the beautiful butterflies that we are if we didn't squeeze through that cocoon.
Doesn't make any goddamn sense.
You understand. If but you know.
You get to a point where you feel like you can say anything and nothing will happen to you, and then eventually something happens to you, then you're like, oh no, then you start to balance out between the two. And I think that's where Rain and Nicole are right now.
Right.
And like when the thing happened to Rain and Nicole, that whole TikTok saga thing.
For those of you that don't know, when
the saga thing going happen, right? I was thinking to myself, like, I can tell them I can do a whole ass lesson about this, right? But they'll never learn it as much as they are right now.
Yes.
And they have to go through this.
Yes.
Because we went through the same thing. So that's I would say the second mistake that's very unavoidable, but you just have to like
encounter
learn it.
Flag.
You have to, exactly.
Okay.
What's your next mistake?
Okay, my next mistake, I have to say is a little bit more of a joke one.
What's the joke one?
It's like having this kind of mic with the clip but no stand. Like, come on lah. Are we a poly project group or something?
A karaoke bar.
Like, come on lah. Like, you see, got this ding ding dong, then must hold like that, then like a bit like stupid.
That's not a mistake.
It's a joke. It's a joke one. It's a joke mistake. But like, I feel like we could have prepared ourselves a bit better.
I think the second. Do you want to put the police one into a mistake?
You can say. How about you? That be yours. Okay. How about that be yours? And I properly think of a second one.
Okay, I'll think of my second mistake. Our overall third mistake.
Yeah.
I think it's good to have basic understanding of the media laws in Singapore.
Yes.
So that when people threaten to sue you.
TLDR story time, please.
Okay. The TLDR is that, okay, so we did an episode about...
Topic statement is how we nearly
got sued.
We nearly got sued for defamation. And someone threatened to lodge a police report against us.
No, I don't think they threatened to. I think they actually lodged a police report against us.
But
the police report is just like lame.
But the conclusion is we were too cool and it didn't affect us.
It affected us a lot.
Okay, but basically,
the story was that we did an episode about Natalie Sell, you know, the Orchard Tower murders, and we did an episode about Natalie Sell.
And she was one that went to prison because of that case.
Yeah, she was an accomplice, I think.
We must be careful with the words you're using.
Okay. No. She was involved.
Incident.
I take that back. She was involved in the incident, and she went to jail for it, right? And we did this episode saying that there were a lot of brands that were hiring her as an influencer on Instagram.
Because she gained a lot of fame.
Correct. She gained a lot of fame. A lot of people were like, oh my god, she's damn chill. She gained a lot of fame, and certain companies follow her, like asked her to promote their products.
To be their brand ambassador.
Correct. And then in the episode, we found on the tag photos. Yes.
There was a cosmetics beauty brand. Which we will not identify.
Don't identify. Please, for the love of God, don't.
So there was this beauty brand organization shop, whatever.
Yeah. So John was like very, very quickly flashed
the post.
And it wasn't long enough for you to recognize what it was, but the brand saw the episode and was like sensy enough and like knew that we were talking about them.
First thing that they did
was message me
and Facebook. Say that we have taken the post of her down. We saw your podcast, we have taken the post of her down.
Yes.
The next message is
this has affected our brand image and we are going to be relodging a police report for defamation. So I freaked out, right? Because of course I don't want to go to jail.
He freaked out so much that he didn't even tell me about it.
Do you know why? Because I knew you would freak out.
I didn't have that much of a freak out, but I was just like, whoa.
Because I knew the reason why you didn't have that much of a freak out, because I figured it out already. I handled it already. By the time I told you, I was like, yeah, dude, cool, everything's good. So I told you 1 month after this happened. So everything was good by then already. I was like, nothing happened to us. But during that one period of time where I had to keep this to myself and I freaked out.
That was a month of character development for
I freaked out. And the one thing I learned from that is that it's good to have a little bit of understanding of what the media laws are. And not just defamation, but I think like copyright and defamation, I think are two bigger ones that you probably will face eventually in your content creation life. So these two, quite important to go and figure out. And I'm lucky because I have friends who have studied law and who are lawyers now.
That he contacted to try to find out a little bit more.
And they're super nice. Because I called Ling Yun at like 1 a.m. at night. I'm like, hi, I got this thing, like, can you go through with me, like, the defamation laws, and like, am I in trouble? Do I have to take this down? Like, what's going on? Then TL, she even wrote a whole ass document going through, like, our possible defenses if this happens.
Yeah.
And then TLDR, they were full of shit. They couldn't sue us.
Let's not be talking too much shit once again, because it seems that Alistair didn't learn from this lesson. But basically, our conclusion after talking about this case, right, is one, we guess, right, that they are saying all that
just to scare us,
to scare us into just taking down the video.
Yeah,
that's it.
And there was nothing really that we did wrong, and everything was correct.
Everything was kosher.
Yeah, was
because
correct.
Here's something that we learned about defamation, right? It is only defamation.
It's based on false.
If you say something that is not true. So was it true that there was that post of that lady during the time of our... Yes, true. And was it posted by that page?
Yes, true. As long as it's based on truth, you can say anything, right? It can be ridiculous opinions, right? But it will still be not defamation.
But you cannot go and say that they post that because they are evil. No, you cannot. That one your opinion. That one is not true, right? But what we said was basically, why post this and what are they an influencer of?
So it's a bit of grey area. And that's why it's good to have knowledge of these sort of things. I think eventually you'll go through it in your life, and you don't want to be going through the same like panic as I did.
Yeah,
if I know all of these things, right, I think it'll be a lot easier.
If you all encounter this problem, right, don't find us. We don't want to talk about it. Thank you.
Please don't. It's a very soft spot. And I'm still scared to this day.
I don't think can.
John, what's your last one to send us off into the sunset?
My last mistake, ladies and gentlemen, I think I gave it a long and hard think.
That's what she said. Just kidding. Don't, please, no.
Wow, that's so primary school level.
I am very primary school.
Gave it a think.
Yes.
I had to replace my funny answer with whatever I'm thinking about. But for me, I think that one of the biggest mistakes that I have encountered, right, is not
snap the fingers.
I'm struggling to find the word for it. Give me a sec.
Give me the gist of
time.
Yeah, snap the fingers more. I can't tell whether he actually knows something or he is like trying to come up with something now.
I'm trying to craft something out and smoke people. So
and what? Smoke people?
Smoke people a bit.
Okay. I mean, wait, what is it about?
Okay, I'll be honest here. Okay, so I think the easiest way to put it, right, is actually quite similar to what Alastair mentioned for his first point. Yeah. But for me, I feel that it is not being kinder as a content creator.
To who?
To people in general. So, like, I feel that especially early in my journey for Overthink and live streaming and whatever, right? Like you, I did experience a little bit of tactlessness, but I don't think I was... Tactless is not the word.
I don't think tactless is the word.
But for me, I felt that like there was a little bit of unkindness on my part when it comes to how I presented, how I interacted with people, and how I more or less like instead of focusing on treating them as people, I treat them as maybe another viewer that I want them to, you get what I mean? So it's very dehumanizing in some sense. But they don't realize it because like parasocial, whatever, it's not nice, right? It's not 100%. Genuine. It's not genuine, basically. I guess it's a mixture of kindness and genuinity. Is that the word? Genuinity. It's a mixture, but I can't find the word for it.
I get what I mean.
Because like there are times whereby when you are online, you are portraying a character.
Yes.
More or less, right? Because you're showcasing something for the audience. But there are also times where you want people to treat you as real, ma. Yeah. So that's where towing that line almost becomes a skill set.
It's difficult to...
But at the same time, right, I feel that like for me, I tow that line well enough, but in a bit of a manipulative way with my audience. So I that's where I was it didn't feel nice because it felt like I was being dishonest lah.
Okay, I get what I mean. I think the way you interact and the way you host eventually over time does change lah. Yeah. And you do make mistakes, and if you look at IMO podcast, the way we talk and the way we host like changes drastically through the years. The way we are interacting now is definitely not the way we interacted in the first episode. So I would say like you don't have to figure it out immediately. I think that's another thing that I want to say. Like, you don't have to figure it out immediately. All these things, you just need to put it out, have some practice, eventually figure out your own style. You don't have to have all of this down pat right from the get-go. And one last mistake before we end the episode. I would say there's this one period of time, it's not really a mistake per se, there was one period of time that I thought that like if you have like famous people on the show, that will solve all my problems. And I'll chase like the famous guests, and as long as I get famous guests on my show,
to be fair,
my episodes will do well.
To be fair,
I don't think it works that way, dude.
It was fun regardless.
It was fun, but I don't think it works that way, lah. I think
now we can say with confidence, right, that we locked Ben King up in a basement with no internet. Who can say that?
We did lock him up in a basement with no internet.
That's the gangster.
And he drank alcohol with us also. Yeah, that's cool.
Basically, and then we fed him alcohol.
Yes, so that happened, but I mean, it was fun, but I don't think it's like I think a lot of people immediately think that if I get a banking or if I get like a net, my channel will be set and everything will be fine and everything will go smoothly. And I would like to, I personally think that like your guests can be amazing or bad or whatever. If the content you're doing is not good, it's just not going to work. So like we have got to the point where there are episodes of IMO that do significantly better than episodes of HTHT with actual influencers in them. So I would say don't focus so much on like getting the guest. I think that's a very unsustainable and very difficult way of getting the views.
Absolutely.
I would say focus more on honing your content out properly. And if you hone your content and you hone your hosting skills and personality on camera better, that can make up for a lack of guests. Definitely,
100% agree with that. 100% agree with that. And I think that's a great way to end it because after all, everything has now more or less come full circle for us in terms of us being here at the Asia Podcast Festival.
And it's just the two of us, there's no guests.
It's kind of crazy, not gonna lie.
We feel like very intense imposter syndrome.
This is the biggest human experiment of the imposter syndrome because we say this all the time. Let me just put it out there, and now it's going to be our digital footprint on our podcast, right?
Yeah.
For one solid week, right, the only thing we kept asking ourselves besides preparing what to bring here, right, is who the fuck are we?
Why do we deserve to be here?
But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, we are sitting up right here, right now, right, and then they have no choice but to listen to us. So I guess that's a win in my book.
Yeah, I mean, I'm proud of us. I still don't believe we deserve to be here, but I'm proud of us. And it's nice to have this opportunity. So we'd like to thank Asia Podcast Festival for having us here. Hopefully next year we hopefully have done a good enough job to invite us again next year. They say yes. So
I think we're pretty cool. I think we're pretty cool.
I don't think it's for us to say, to be honest.
As in, I don't give a shit. I think we're pretty cool.
And with that, guys, stay safe. Don't get COVID. See you guys next week. Bye-bye. Bye.